All right, what's up, guys? What is going on? We are running a little late. I didn't think I was going to make it today. Busy day moving into my new place. As you can see, I'm pretty minimal here in this room until I get everything set up. But we made it happen. Let me pull up the Instagram feed and we will do this thing. All right, we're live. Welcome, everybody. So, Thursday evening, always good to be here hanging out with you guys, answering questions, sharing some information and everything. So, first of all, I didn't think I was going to make it live today. I just moved into my new place, spent all 10 hours yesterday moving stuff over here, and finished up today. So new place, really love the new place I'm in. It's awesome. Lots of it's out of the city. It's like out in nature. There's lots of like wildlife in my backyard. There's little rabbits out in the backyard and things like that. So love the new place I'm at. So yeah, moving's always crazy, but I did it, guys. So what I have to share today, before I get into a little Q&A here. I see there's some questions coming in on YouTube. You guys are awesome. We are in, I feel like I'm saying this every week, but we're in such a transformational time. Like the energy hitting the planet right now is just, it's insane. It's crazy. And I love it. There's been some serious, massive changes happening in my life, some serious tests, some serious challenge, specifically some dark side forces kind of moving in, trying to get hold of my center. But I won that battle and holding strong. And I'm sure that you guys are feeling in your lives, just this, everything's changing. All these things are coming up for us, and it can be extremely unbalancing, right? We're all being tested right now. We're all being challenged. Our shadows are coming out. Our darkness is emerging for us to address it. And we can either stay in our ego, stay in our old patterns and fight what's changing in our lives, or we can let go. We can allow ourselves to transform. We can stay grounded, stay balanced, keep our energy circulating, connect with the nature, connect with the heart of the earth, connect with the cosmos, and find our own balance and really ride these waves with change. I can tell you, one thing is certain, this world is never going to be the same. There's going to be a lot of information coming out very soon that's going to completely, transform our perception of reality. I do believe, things are changing on some serious levels on this planet, and not everyone is going to be able to handle the changes that we're going through, and we're kind of at the split right now where people are either going down these deep rabbit holes of fear, of anxiety, of, feeling like they're going crazy. And then on the other hand, those of us who are, doing the inner work, keeping ourselves balanced, keeping ourselves grounded, connected to the earth, are really on this powerful, powerful timeline of this massive spiritual awakening, massive transformation. And seeing that we are the creators of our reality. No one outside of you has power over you unless you allow them your power, right? The only power they have is the power you give them. So be mindful of where your thoughts are. Be mindful of what you're focusing on. Be mindful of what you're creating in your reality, because every thought you have, every story you tell yourself is creating your reality. The more you focus on things, the more they crystallize. So I encourage you guys, as always, to focus on that which brings you joy, that which brings you peace and harmony and balance. Get inspired, get motivated. Ask yourself, what can I do to assist others who are going through this transformation? First of all, get yourself balanced, get yourself aligned, do your inner work, clear out your shadow, clear out your negative patterns. And then, what can I do to make this world a better place? How can I help others? What gifts do I have that I can cultivate and really develop that makes the world around me a better place, right? So that's the kind of the focal point of this new timeline we're on, guys. This new earth that is emerging. It's going to be a completely different story. All this thousands of years of dark forces controlling everything from, Babylonian banking systems to big tech, social media, censorship, all that's coming to an end. And I'm really excited to be alive right now, guys. So that's our dissertation for today, I guess. And of course, a major part of this is getting your sexual energy into balance, as I always say, because your sexual energy is your creative energy as a human being. And we've been conditioned and manipulated to develop this very distorted connection to our sexual energy where it controls us. And we only express it as this lustful expression of, draining the energy from our bodies. So learning to integrate your sexual energy with all aspects of your being not just suppressing it, not just, well, I just can't engage in sex, I can't think about sex. That doesn't really work, right? So it's like, how do you take that base chakra energy and redirect it so it connects and amplifies the processes of the rest of the body? And that, is the fully activated being, right? And combining that sexual energy with the energy of your heart, raising its vibration, raising its frequencies, expanding it out to your entire field, raising it into the energy of your crown, your third eye, having that vision, that spiritual connection, that connection to your true, highest, authentic self, right? So we're connecting and activating all levels, not like, well, I can only, be up here in the ethereal planes. No, grounding that energy into your body, into the earth, and being a multidimensional being, right? So anyways, guys, that's my rant for the day. I'm going to answer some questions now. Okay, Stanley on YouTube asks, can you explain the Taoist / sexual kung fu concept of enlightenment? What is the goal? Well, enlightenment is not a word I really use personally much because obviously, all right, so you asked what's the Taoist perspective? Basically, the Taoist perspective of this, and I'm not a Taoist, I'm just very inspired by Taoist philosophy. I love Taoist practices, but I'm not a Taoist. But having studied Taoist philosophy, my understanding is they're not so much striving to achieve enlightenment as they are achieving immortality. These may be two different things. And when I say immortality, we're not talking about living forever in a physical body. Like, why would you want to stay in a physical body like forever and ever? It's going to get boring after a while, right? The thing is, most of us have this fear of death, right? So the Taoist concept of immortality is one of integration and crystallization, right? Crystallizing the essence of yourself, your body, your mind, your personality, that which makes you, right? Crystallizing that into a vessel, an energetic vessel that outlives your physical body. And obviously this requires, clearing a lot of the conditioning you have, finding this internal yin yang balance, your internal male female patterns, letting go of a lot of things, right? So you get deep into this, but basically, that's what, from my understanding, most of the Taoist texts are striving for, is this concept of immortality, continuing to create in the other realms beyond physical death, right? Being so integrated to the point that you are still a conscious creator in the higher realms. Okay, Soul Immortal asks, what should a Qigong beginner start with? Should I focus on building the Dantian or some Zhanzhuang or what? Zhanzhuang is the standing meditation Qigong practice. I recommend you start with both of these things. Building the Dantian is a powerful foundation for internal practice. So yeah, follow my Dantian breathing video on YouTube. That's one of the main foundations for developing Qi in the body. And do some Qigong practice too to mobilize that Qi that you're building. So Zhanzhuang is an excellent foundational practice because it teaches you how to hold your body, how to activate your energy in a way, and you can then integrate that into movement practice, whether it's Tai Chi, whether it's Qigong movements, whatever, right? So those are some really solid foundations. Okay. Winston Tofat. Winston Top Hat. He says, or Winston Top Hat says, I just recently stopped now, but after years of smoking a lot of weed every day, this has caused my brain's functioning and my thinking to change. I feel like I overanalyze or overthink everything, a deep level to an OCD level. I don't feel fulfilled or satisfied. Okay, basically, is there a way to regain my mental clarity and recover to a point where I can think normally again? So you smoked a lot of weed every day and you think that it's kind of changed your brain's functioning and, caused some less than optimal mental patterns, right? Maybe this was caused by the weed. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was something kind of underlying that maybe got, amplified by this. So, I'm going to say that anything can be changed. Anything can be transformed. What I highly recommend for you is to, really get into some sort of internal practice, meditation, mind-body connection, Qigong, this is what I always recommend, right? But these things are very, very powerful because, when there's a pattern of thinking in your mind, it represents an energy current in your body. The mind and the body are very interrelated. The mind is really a composite of the body. It's the body mind, right? We tend to think it's all in our head, but it's our entire body. So there may be some sort of pattern somewhere in your body that's causing this, some kind of tension, some kind of blockage, right? Maybe this comes down to your conditioning, childhood experiences, trauma. Maybe it's from smoking too much weed. It's difficult to say, but having some sort of, holistic energetic practice to open up the channels, really gain this consciousness of what's happening in your body, where you're holding tension, where is your negative self-talk, what are these patterns arising, and having the practice to clear that, right? I know it's kind of vague, but do Qigong every day, meditate every day, go out in nature every day, get some help if you want, find a healer, a therapist, whatever, find some passions in your life, find some creative outlet. Pure Presence says, do you ever use the massage gun on perineum and testicles? It seems to greatly raise sexual energy fast. I have a massage gun, but no, I can't say I've used it on my testicles and perineum. You want to be careful with those areas of your body. If you really hammer them, you can do some damage. So if you feel like you're benefiting from it, that's great. But I would say be very, very careful. I do massage my testicles and genital area, regularly. It's important, but be careful of how much, intensity you're putting there. Okay. Adita GWL says, what's your opinion on using delay spray to control ejaculation and successfully retain semen? I don't like using external things, especially like, numbing sprays, because then you can't feel anything, right? And so it's just like you're numb, and then it's just kind of feeding your ego. You're like, okay, I'm having sex for long periods of time, but you're not really enjoying it, are you? And maybe you are, again, no judgment here. If it works for you, that's fine. But me personally, I would rather address that issue in an more of a holistic way. Like, okay, well, can I just learn to hold more pleasure, more arousal in my body without ejaculating? Can I release some of these hypersensitivity patterns that are causing me to ejaculate quickly? And then you can allow yourself to feel, your penis and not numb it during sex, right? This can be developed with training. That's what sexual kung fu is all about. And that's my philosophy, is not relying on a drug, not relying on some external thing, which can be taken away at any time. You do the practice, you develop the connection, develop the skill yourself through training, and then, you are a master at that point. Okay, 955.369K on Instagram says, I'm on semen retention and I'm fasting at the same time and I don't have that much energy. Is there anything I can do to gain more energy? Well, you might want to eat some food. Fasting, I know there's a huge trend around fasting, and yes, fasting can be a very beneficial practice, but if you overdo it, you can really mess yourself up. Fasting is a clearing practice. You can easily burn up your jing, burn up your energy by doing fasting. So if you're feeling exhausted, fatigued, it's your body telling you, hey, something's wrong. You need to eat some freaking food, right? So I don't do very well with fasting. I've done it on occasions, but overall, my metabolism's so high, I burn so much energy through the day that I need food to keep myself grounded, or else I just get very weak, very mentally scattered, very ungrounded. So I don't do a lot of fasting personally, so, be careful. There's no single thing that works well for everyone. If you don't feel good and you're doing something, change it. Okay, Rudicelli says, how do I help my boyfriend to be more inspired to retain his energy? Well, have him, show him some of my videos. Get him the book Multi-Orgasmic Man by Montauk Chia. It's kind of a good introduction to this stuff. But overall, unfortunately, you can't really do anything for anyone else. People can only do things when they choose to, right? You can only convince people so much, right? We all have free will. We all have our own path to walk. So you can, open the conversation, set the seed, but he must make the choice himself. And he's not willing to do it, then it is what it is. Zach Webb says June 1st. Yeah, supposedly there's going to be some massive disclosure on June 1st, the beginning of June. We'll see if it actually happens. Okay, Zach Webb says, I was practicing the breath work, but ended up relapsing. Is there any tips to bounce back quick? You ended up ejaculating. I don't like the word relapse personally. Yeah, watch my video on ejaculation recovery, how to recover from ejaculation. Basically, eat some goji berries, eat some gene-rich foods, pumpkin seeds, black sesame seeds, bee pollen, maca root. have some rest, massage your testicles, and it takes a couple days, but you'll have the energy back. Your body has to create the semen. Okay, Hossein Odin says, could you explain the process of breathing? Should we move the energy through the spine when we breathe in or breathe out? It depends what type of breathing you're talking about, what practice you're talking about. You're talking about moving the energy through the spine. So I'm not exactly sure what practice you're talking about, but if you're talking about like the microcosmic orbit, cycling energy up and down the spine, or the front channel, the do and ren channels, it really doesn't matter which way you move the energy, which part of your breath. Like, when you develop skill, you can move energy without any interrelation to your breath. Breath is kind of a training tool in the beginning, but it really doesn't matter, like coordinating the inhale, the exhale. Some teachers will tell you can only move the energy up as you inhale, only down as you exhale, but it's not true in my experience. So don't worry too much about it, basically. PV1K says, have you read the Tao Te Ching? Thoughts on it? Yeah, I've read the Tao Te Ching. I've read several different translations of it. There's kind of the more scholarly translations where, these philosophers, really in their heads, people who don't actually do practice, who don't practice Qigong, who don't practice meditation, but they read these texts and are like, okay, I'm going to translate it. This is what I think they were saying. And it's a bit more scholarly, but I think that the Tao Te Ching was more of an alchemical text. It was more of an instruction on internal practice, internal development, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal book that I recommend reading, and again, it's difficult to find good translations on it, but I recommend looking at a few different translations and seeing it again as kind of this instructions on alchemical internal practices, right? Okay, becoming the divine vessel says, love your content, dude. Thoughts on weaponized food lowering men's testosterone and how to naturally boost testosterone? Yeah, I mean, there's there's a lot of things weaponized to mess with our hormones. Foods obviously are a big one, but also scented products. Chemical scents. Air fresheners, dish soaps, laundry detergents, anything that has a smell like scented chemicals. They really disrupt your endocrine system. I recommend not using any of these products, staying away from them. Like Axe body spray, we use that when you're teenagers. It's horrible for you. Porn addiction, right? A lot of things that are lowering men's testosterone. So basically, avoid soy products, avoid GMOs, avoid gluten, wheat products that are genetically altered and sprayed with pesticides. Avoid pesticides, eat organic, eat fresh, clean foods. Some animal products are helpful for a lot of men, depends on your body type, right? Maca root, Tonkat Ali, high fat, healthy fats, zinc, iron, magnesium, boron, selenium, getting plenty of these minerals. Strength training is major. Testicle massage, retaining your semen, actually having a lot of non-ejaculatory sex will also significantly boost your testosterone levels. So Gills Priv says, what do you think about crystals? I think crystals are phenomenal. They are alive. They're conscious. They're millions of years old. They're this very, very, I mean, compared to us, they're very, very slow growing in their life cycle. But yes, crystals are conscious beings. Our technology is based on crystals. They hold tremendous amounts of information and energy. Quartz crystals. What are you holding in your hand right now, or watching this through a computer, a phone? What's powering that phone? Quartz crystals, quartz chips, right? So crystals are energy transducers, and you can also connect with them consciously. You can program them, you can meditate with them, you can communicate with them. Crystals are ancient wise beings, and a lot of ancient civilizations used crystal-based technology. I mean, we have crystal-based technology now, and this has been a common theme in advanced civilizations in the past, was understanding the power of crystals And of course, like all things, they can be used to destroy or to create. So it comes down to your intentions. But yeah, crystals are fantastic. I have a lot. I've got here. I'll show you this. I've got an Andara. So these are pretty cool. Andaras. They're kind of rare. Someone was kind of got this download that there's a supply of these tools that they used in ancient Lemuria, supposedly, right? And they were dowsing, and they found these Andaras near Mount Shasta. So they're powerful stones to work with. But I have a lot of other crystals as well. Okay, thoughts on supplementing Jing herbs. What testosterone level do you think an average male should have? Okay, you should only take Jing supplements if you feel like you're Jing deficient. If you're a healthy male with a normal sex drive, you don't necessarily need Jing supplements. You might just overstimulate yourself and make yourself excessively young, excessively horny. I've done this before, right? And I wouldn't obsess so much about like what's your testosterone level, because tests can be very inaccurate. A good indication of your testosterone level is, do you have a healthy sex drive? Do you have healthy energy levels? Do you feel driven in your life, right? Do you have morning erections? I think this is one of the biggest indications is having morning wood. If you do, then you have, pretty good testosterone levels. I know guys tend to like really, really obsess about this. So it's just like, do you feel good? Do you have, a healthy sex drive? Do you have healthy, energy? Then you're fine. You don't need to like obsess over, oh, what's the exact number of my testosterone level. Okay, would you consider a wet dream as a relapse? First of all, I think the word relapse is stupid. It's this really negative connotation of a natural process of your human body. Like ejaculation is natural. It's normal. Our bodies were created to ejaculate. I've never said that ejaculation is wrong. It's terrible. Excessive ejaculation, doing it every day, that's a problem. That's excessive, right? Because you lose all these nutrients and minerals more than you can, produce, basically, right? But if it's an occasional thing, it's not a big deal. So this is my philosophy: is all of your obsession and focus on I can never ever ejaculate, you're going to develop some serious neurosis, right? So having said that, no, I don't think a wet dream is a huge deal unless you're having them like multiple times a week. If it's like you reach a certain point in your retention where your body releases, like you can't get beyond 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, then it's probably about your body telling you this is when you should ejaculate to clear out old sperm that are dying, or whatever, right? So, be balanced with it. So finding that middle point between two extremes is where you will always find balance in your life. Josh Gillett says, I have a great calling towards gaining trust with females again. How is it? What's the best way to reapproach females after long periods of avoidance? Just be yourself. Just be confident. Don't interact with females like you're looking for something, trying to, get something from them. Just be yourself. Come into a place of, hey, I have self-love, I have self-respect. I think I'm, an okay person, and I want to share that with you. And I'm simply being myself and like, just engaging in intellectual conversation, right? And it's a much better way to go around, because if you're being yourself, then you will attract someone who's actually in resonance with you. If you're trying to put on this act to attract someone, then it's not actually you who attracted them. Then you have to continue this act and be someone you're not to keep attracting them. So it's just exhausting. So just be yourself. Don't obsess over it so much. Keep doing your inner work. Keep your vibes high. Work out, eat clean, get your sleep, do your Qigong, do your meditation, and just be yourself. And you will naturally, attract someone who's a vibrational match for you. Soul Immortal says, does going on semen retention attract your twin flame? If not, how would you go about doing that? I mean, it does make you more attractive to the opposite sex, but if, the whole twin flame is a word, what that word means to you, it's difficult for me to say, but pretty much what I just said, like, just be yourself. Don't come into relationship and seeking relationship out of the space of neediness, out of the space of I need this person to take something from them. Just be yourself. And again, when you're doing your inner work, when you get to your highest potential, then you will naturally attract that which you already are. MTL says, do you know Bashar? Oh yeah, I know Bashar. I love Bashar's work. Yeah, he's got some great information. I like what he talks about following your excitement and how that is like the ultimate guide to your true path, your highest path, right? And it's like every single moment, whatever options you have, you do that which brings you the most excitement, and you will always be on the right path of synchronicity. And I've really followed that to my best of my ability in my life, and it has had some tremendous results for me. Okay, Hossein Medjkane. I'm not sorry. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Your name. Thanks for your answer. What about your breathing during sex? Does it matter to breathe into the belly, or should we just relax completely? It's best to breathe from the belly. Deep breathing during sex, and as the sex becomes more vigorous, as your arousal increases, you can the breath can become a bit more forceful. Like, as I often find myself doing during more vigorous sex. And but that's the key, is like keep the breath going, keep it deep. If your breath starts to become very shallow, if it starts to move up into your chest, then you're probably going to get closer to ejaculation. So basically just deep breathing continuously, and relaxing completely is very helpful as well. The more you can relax the body, the more arousal you can hold, but also having open energy channels, guiding the energy upwards with your mind. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to ejaculation control. Okay, Vicky Vigas says, why do Indian yogis wear langot? Langot? I'm gonna look this up because I don't know what this actually is. Like some tiny underwear things. I couldn't tell you why yogis wear Speedos. I don't know. I mean, if I could, I would wear the least amount of clothing that I need to, right? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't asked them. Soul Immortal says, are you familiar with Graham Hancock? I think it's possible that America could be the home for certain lost civilizations. For example, there's pyramids in the Grand Canyon, maybe even Atlantis or Lemuria. Yeah, I'm familiar with Graham Hancock. I've seen a lot of his work, and yeah, he does some great work. Yeah, there was definitely ancient civilizations in America. They found Egyptian artifacts all over Arizona and the Grand Canyon. Of course, they cover them up and bury them somewhere to not change our fabricated version of history. There's pyramids everywhere. There's pyramids all over the world. Every continent has pyramids on them. They actually line up. If you follow, the pyramids and sacred sites on the planet, you can follow a spiral that connects to them all. It's either Fibonacci spiral or golden mean spiral, but it starts at the Great Pyramid of Giza, and it spirals out. And if you follow the spiral, it connects to all the sacred sites of the earth. So it forms this grid. And kind of a theory is that there was a massive disruption to our morphogenic fields, our consciousness fields of the earth. Every being has a grid of consciousness around the planet, which is why when certain changes happen in our consciousness, for like the 100th monkey effect, they found that these monkeys on this island in Japan, they like to eat sweet potatoes, and then they taught one of the monkeys to wash the sweet potato first, and then all of a sudden, all the monkeys in the world started washing these sweet potatoes. So it's that consciousness grid effect is the theory that we have these grids of consciousness. And so during Atlantis, there were some dark forces experimenting with technology, like doing today, right? To manipulate the weather, to manipulate mind control, things like that, and it kind of tore open some dimensional levels, and things got really crazy. And so it really messed up the consciousness grids of the planet. And the theory is that all these sacred sites, the pyramids, all these things were built to kind of artificially bring us back into, they call it the Christ consciousness grid, this alignment for harmonious evolution of our consciousness. So there's that. Okay, Eve Go says, can you address the dangers of the Taoist energy cultivation and how we can avoid it with certain techniques? I would say that of all the energy cultivation systems available, the Taoist system is probably the safest. I can say that from experience. I was into all kinds of stuff, Kundalini yoga, all kinds of things. And the Taoist system is there's different, there's some more fiery Taoist paths, like Montauk Chia kind of integrates a lot of other stuff, and his stuff's a bit more forceful and fiery. But overall, I would say the Taoist path is more of a water path. It's more of a gentle building of energy, starting with the lower foundations of the body, building a foundation of the Dantian, slowly building your way up the energy centers so you have a grounded, stable development versus, some of the more fire paths like the yoga systems and some other systems. It's like all about going straight up to the crown, going straight up to, upper Dantian work, we could say, which can cause some serious imbalances if you aren't grounded, if you have no ground to hold the powerful energies you're bringing in from the heavens. But the imbalances you can look for really in any energy cultivation. I will say that the most common thing people run into is using too much force, using too much excessive focus in their practice and obsession, and it kind of causing this yang excess energy rising up into the head, kind of amplifying your thought patterns, anxieties, and things like that. And the key to that is grounding, working a little more with the lower Dantian, more of an effortless practice, right? And that's what I'm really teaching in my Immortal Energy Arts online academy, immortalenergyarts.com. It's a very gradual progression through powerful energy cultivation practices. But really, that's why, again, like in my 12-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, the first thing I teach is how to clear excessive energy, how to clear imbalances and negative emotions in the body. Because if you have those tools, then as you get more advanced in your energy cultivation, if imbalances do arise, then you have the tools to clear those things out. So that's why I always start with those types of techniques. Murtaza Aki says, is Zhanzhuang a good practice for beginner to looking to cultivate internal energy, going off your recent video about the importance of cultivating? Yes, that is a great practice to start with. And if you want another practice, add in Dantian breathing just as a sitting static practice to just build qi in the Dantian. But Zhanzhuang, which is just a static holding postures in Qigong and engaging the mind and the body, it's the number one practice to start with, I would say. It's my foundational practice, one thing I do every single day. So yeah, it's a great place to start. Hey, Rendell Frank says, did you frequent bars or clubs before your semen retention journey? I wouldn't say I frequented them, but I used to spend some time in bars, and because that's where my friends at the time would do. It was like, oh, the weekend, let's go to the bar, let's hang out, have some drinks. And, it's fine if you do that every now and then, but it just got really old for me. I was like, what, this isn't that great. I don't really gain anything from doing this. It kind of just makes me feel shitty. I wake up in the morning and I feel like garbage from drinking alcohol and like open myself up to all this weird stuff. When you drink alcohol, you become very open to weird energies coming in your body. That's why, they call them spirits, because it was understood in ancient times that you open yourself up to spirits or energies, thought forms, whatever, when you're in this intoxicated state. So yeah, it's been a while since I've done that. Eve Go. Someone probably asked this, but what does the necklace looks like? Egyptian jed. Yeah, this is my Ra key from Arcturus Ra. It is based on the Egyptian jed, powerful photonic energy generator. Arcturus Ra, you can check out his channel. He's an awesome dude in Sedona. Arister Cruz has any practices to do to better prepare for the July 6-week course? It's actually a 12-week course now, but to prepare for it, Dantian breathing, you'll be ahead of the game. Testicle breathing, my practice on that, I go way deeper into that in the course. And Zhuang practice, the Qigong practice, those are some good foundations. So yeah, you work with those, you'll be well prepared. I would say the Dantian building is probably the main thing, just because for everyone in energy cultivation, that is the most important thing. Have you heard of Vibe Bender says, have you heard of urine therapy? Yes, I've heard of it. I don't practice it. I just haven't been, inspired enough to drink my own pee, but it's becoming more popular. Maybe everyone's going to be drinking their pee in 10 years. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. You can do your own research on that. It's not really something I, do or talk about. Thoughts on David Data's work? Yeah, David Data's work's great. I like some of his stuff. I don't vibe with everything he says. I can't say he's been like a super like uh, inspirational person for me. I know a lot of people like him. I don't know. I was never like that, uh, affected by his work, I guess. But he's got some great stuff. Again, a lot of people like it, so check it out. See for yourself whether you like it or not. Matea Roel says, how do you balance your feminine energy while holding masculine roles in society? I think this is a very, very important thing. Yin Yang balance is what this is. We always have everything's in extremes in our world now. It's like you're either way over here or you're way over there. And this is why we're so kind of messed up, right? Is because we can't find balance in our world. We have no neutral point. We have no reference point. We just have these extremes. You're either, an overly aggressive, putting on this front of being an alpha male, trying to dominate everyone around you, or you're, the beta male, just weak, over emotional, things like that, right? This is often the pattern we see. So it's like, how do you balance things, right? Because this is the key to harmony. This is the key to enjoying life, is finding this balance. We all have male, female aspects within us, right? And, early in my life, I was a bit more feminine. I was very sensitive. I was really skinny. I wasn't very confident, and for me, practicing semen retention and Qigong, balancing my energy, really helped me step into my masculine. And then there's periods where I went too extreme with the masculine, in that I'm overworking, over controlling things, just over yang, excess yang, right? So how do you balance these things within yourself? And to me, what this looks like is obviously holding my masculine strongly. I'm building my body, strengthening my mind. I'm going out into the world and doing things and making things happen, and sharing my work, providing for myself, providing for my partner. And so where's the yin, right? For me, the yin is being able to let go of all that, being able to feel, have an open heart, be able to express myself, to be creative, and what this is going to look like for you is different things, but I think this is an important thing to be aware of, is what's your balance between male, female energies within your body, masculine and feminine. And if these are not in balance, you are going to have an issue at some point. YRNZ777 says, how to control your sexual energy. Well, there's a lot to it, but basically first you need to start to connect with, feel, and work with your regular energy, just the regular chi of your body that's coming from your organs, the cells are creating, it's coming from nature. So like Qigong, meditation, right? These are basic skills for starting to feel the energy channels of your body and work with it, guide the flow of chi in your body. When you can do that, then it's easier to step into working with sexual energy, which is much more volatile, it's much more potent, and it's much more difficult to control because it's so ingrained in certain expressions. So that's how I structure my training in my 12-week courses. Okay, here's how to connect with just regular energy of your body. Here's how to, open pathways, build energy, clear old energy. And then you have a really good foundation to start to do that with sexual energy. Because my experience has been, if you just go straight into sexual energy practices, arouse sexual energy, then it's like trying to jump on a wild horse for the first time and control it. It doesn't work for most people. It didn't work for me, certainly. So that's why it's very important to have some, foundations before getting into this. UCLS 98 says, what do you think about CBD? I think, I've tried CBD several times, and I never really noticed much from it, honestly, but there's been a lot of research showing that it can help you get better REM sleep. Obviously, pain relief and things like this, relaxation, anti-anxiety. So I think CBD can be a great tool. A lot of people seem to benefit from it, and it's not psychoactive. It doesn't get you high. So there's not really any issues that I see with, using it. So I think it's fine. Lola Kirsty, do you only focus on men? My focus personally is mostly towards men, but my partner Mariah, she teaches women stuff. And so you can check out her channel. Hey, Mariah Ann. In fact, here's Mariah right now. Hey. Want to say hi?
Sure.
It's my beautiful goddess partner, Mariah.
Hello.
What, you've got some stuff coming up. What are you doing? Teaching women's work?
Yeah. Launching Multi-Orgasmic Goddess. So we created the course about a year ago, and then I'm just adding a lot more to it from everything that I've learned in the last year, and a lot of different types of practices and different journaling prompts and different types of support. So it's always been a self-paced program, and I'm adding in some live calls and just a bit more support so that women can actually have that community and all that stuff. So
teaching women to work with their sexual energy and become empowered.
Yeah, and how that ties into similar to what you've been doing, but just manifesting their dream life. So helping them just tie in that sexual energy to money or business or attracting a partner or
having awesome orgasms.
Having awesome orgasms, of course, obviously, or increasing their health. So just really how it all ties in together.
So yeah, she's launching her Multi-Orgasmic Goddess course, which I recorded some stuff for it for women as well. So yeah, check it out on her channel. Hey, Mariah Ann, right?
Yes.
Instagram. All right. Thanks, Mariah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, where are we at? Okay. Robert Schonewil. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Schoneville. Do you think it's better never to ejaculate or once in a couple of weeks? Depends on your health condition. Like if you're like chronic fatigue, really, really depleted, then I would recommend going as long as you can without ejaculating. But other than that, for most other men, it's not actually beneficial to go forever without ejaculating. From my experience, it's good to have occasional ejaculations to kind of clear out old fluid. It seems to kick the endocrine system into gear when it's like once in a while. I'm not, obviously like multiple times a week, too much. Maybe that's once a month, every, 3 weeks, every 6 weeks, whatever. But an occasional ejaculation keeps you from getting into this rigidity and being extreme about it. And in my experience, it's been the most holistic way of doing it. And a lot of the Taoist texts recommend this as well. David Carrion says, would it be a good practice to do cardio, get the heart rate up, and then try to slow down your heart rate since it's similar to feeling aroused and relaxing? It's a completely different thing than, working with arousal. You can do that just as a sort of mind-body exercise, but it's not really going to relate to sexual energy practices, I would say. Completely different beasts. Oh, the guy in Sedona, Arcturus Ra. Arcturus is in the star Arcturus. Ra, R-A, as in, Ra of ancient Egypt, the soul group there. Bobcat says, hey, Johnathan, I work as a massage therapist, and I've been experimenting with self-massage as a way to circulate the energy up from my root chakra. Just using fingertips to lightly run up from the bottom of the belly to the top of the torso and around the heart. Is this paired with retention an effective way to circulate the energy, or should I be doing something else? This is a great practice. It helps you to develop body awareness, using physical touch, helping to massage, move the energy. But it may by itself not be enough. I do recommend doing internal practices on top of this. I mean, just doing this is better than doing nothing at all. You may, you may get all the benefits you need from doing that. Only you can say that, right? But I do recommend having internal practice on top of this because it's going to be more direct and probably more powerful in moving the energy. Okay, Starshine Aurora says, does it work for women too if women stop masturbating? Women don't really lose energy from orgasming the way that men do. They don't lose, for men, it's the loss of semen that's the issue. It's not an orgasm. It's not masturbation's problem. It's the loss of semen. There's a lot of life force in semen. Women don't really have any, as far as orgasm, women don't lose energy from that. They do, however, lose energy from menstruation, excessive menstruation. That's a lot of what the women's work is centered around is having practices to clear negative emotions and toxins from the body so that the body doesn't need to use its blood, its gene to do that. And you will find your periods become less severe. So that's the practice for the women. It doesn't necessarily benefit women to abstain from sexual pleasure and orgasm. Obviously porn and things like that, the dopamine stuff, yes, that will affect women as well. But pleasure and orgasm, I don't think that there's benefit to withholding that from your life. In fact, I think it's a lot of the Taoist texts say, yes, women should have as many orgasms as possible. And again, it comes down to what makes you feel good, what makes you feel balanced. You can experiment with it and find out for yourself. Don Mello says, what should I do to occupy my time going into 3 weeks retention? Meditate, work out, find some creative practice, learn a musical instrument, learn to paint, learn to write poetry, something, right? Creative work, very important. Qigong, energy circulation. If you're building energy, you want to circulate that sexual energy so it doesn't become stagnant. So there you go. Okay, asking about Mariah's work. I'll be sharing a lot of her stuff in my Instagram stories. I'll be sharing info about like when she's launching her course and things like that. So yeah, just follow my Instagram stories and I'll be sharing some of Mariah's work. And again, you can follow her page, Hey Mariah Ann, on Instagram. Okay, Lackoff, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. It says, I just bought the SKF digital product bundle. So it's some short training videos at my website. I've been doing mostly the first course in Qigong. Would you recommend doing all 3 every day? And would that be sufficient as daily practice or EOD? So working with those courses, there's different practices. So basically, the Qigong mastery is it's chi development, right? So you want to have that as a separate practice from your sexual energy, sexual development. So basically, I recommend splitting your work between doing Qigong practices, doing internal energy practices, and the practices in Qigong mastery are going to be the most effective for that. And then there's, the sexual energy work techniques in the other videos. And so we kind of, have your energy cultivation, your Qigong practice, and then, do your sexual cultivation, experiment with that, and then finish with, running the orbit. So that could be a good way to do it. And yes, July, I'll be opening Multi-Orgasmic Man, my 12-week course. Once again, that's my most comprehensive, in-depth, massive training on becoming a multi-orgasmic man, working with sexual energy. Wellness with Dale says, what exercises can I do for harder erections? Cardio, lower body cardio, very important. I noticed when I started doing more cardio, it really improved my erections. And Angion method, A-N-G-I-O-N. This is amazing, amazing method. Look it up on YouTube, or there's a Reddit page about it as well. This guy created this method. This guy nerded out for like 10 years on how to develop the blood vessels in the penis, and he created the Angion method. It's phenomenal. I also teach these exercises in my course, Multi-Orgasmic Man. But yeah, that's been a game changer for me. So you do those. Also watch your diet, get enough sleep, things like that, and you'll have some, pretty solid erections. Tyler Snow says, can porn be educational or good? It can be educational. It can teach you, how to thrust mindlessly into someone. It can teach you how to have disconnected, lustful sex. I mean, of course, there's more conscious porn and things like that. So, I'm not coming here to judge or anything. If you want to watch porn, that's fine. But understand that it really, really messes with your arousal response in your body. It really messes with your dopamine receptors. I don't recommend doing it consistently. It just causes issues. Thoughts on sun gazing? Zach Webb. Sun gazing is amazing. I do it every day that I can when the sun's out in the sky. I made a video on this. It's a great practice. There's many benefits to it. Stay tuned to the sun because the sun is changing. The sun's frequency is changing, and it's constantly sending us information, and they're constantly spraying the sky to block the sun from us. I watched today them form, tic-tac-toe in the sky with all these trails, coming from the planes, right? So yeah, sun gazing is great. Keep you tuned up. You get that UV light, get those sun energies. The sun's white. It used to be yellow. Do you guys remember when the sun was yellow? It's white. The sun changed sometime in the last decade, I think. Maybe it was a little later than that. Fawad as, sorry if I'm saying that your name wrong. I'm bad at the pronunciation sometimes. Says, are these practices effective if you just relapsed? I'm assuming you mean ejaculate. Or do you have to build, did you relapse on heroin? Did you relapse on drinking? Like what, what kind of relapse did you have? Again, I don't like to use that word. Did you ejaculate? That's what you're talking about, I'm guessing. Are these practices effective if you ejaculated, or do you have to build up the sexual energy a bit first? I'm not sure which practices you're talking about. Qigong, meditation are fine even if you just ejaculated. But if you're talking about sexual practices, they'll be more potent when you do have some sexual energy built up. But you can definitely do them right away and just, see how you feel. Caitlin says, do you know the certified health nut, Troy Casey? I'm familiar with his work. I haven't met him personally. We're actually both speaking at an event in Sedona in July. What is it? The Family Gathering of Light in Sedona. We're both going to be speaking there. So I imagine that I'll meet him in person then. But yeah, he's, great work. I like his work. What's my take on veganism? I'm not going to go deep into this, but basically diet, it becomes a religion for a lot of people, and it's easy to get into this very mentally, like, oh, well, I read all this information, therefore this is what I must do, and then what your body actually needs is something else, right? So basically learn to listen to what your body needs. If you feel good, if you feel healthy, if you're not deficient, then that's great. But if you're on a certain diet and you start feeling worse, your energy levels decline, it's not good. And I'll also say, if you're on a diet and you need to take like 1 million supplements because you're not getting that from your diet, then obviously your diet is not very effective, right? So again, follow your body, what your body needs. When you become sensitive to what your body needs, then, you will always be on the right path. And there's no single diet that works for everyone. We're, unique genetics, unique blood types. So, don't be a dietary religious fanatic. Is kind of my recommendation, because I've been down that path personally. Rendell Frank says, could a person still be considered sexually healthy if they do not wake up with morning wood for whatever reason? Yeah, I mean, in general, though, morning wood is a strong indication of your yang energy, your testosterone levels, and therefore kind of your sexual health as well, right? But of course, like if you it may just be that you're not waking up to your morning erections. Like I have mine strongest ones, pretty early in the morning, like 4 or 5 a.m. But if you're truly not having morning wood, that may be something to look into. And do you feel, like you have healthy sexual energy the rest of your day? There's a lot of ways you can look at this. But morning wood is kind of, an indication of your potency as a man. Derek Trevino says, can one have a healthy and fit body with only internal work, Qigong, yoga, breath work, and no external exercise, strength training, cardio, etc.? Not really. It's very difficult. I was doing Qigong, I was doing yoga, all this stuff every day for a while, and I didn't gain a very fit. I mean, my body was fairly fit, I guess, but if you want to like sculpt your body, cultivate your body, then work with your body, do physical exercise. It's, completely different focus. Qigong is about cultivating qi, and Qigong is not going to get you ripped. Yoga, there's more kind of strengthening yogas, but for me, it didn't, it didn't do much for me physically, right? As far as like strength, gaining strength and building my body. I like to go to the gym and lift weights because it's building my body. So, just depends what your goals are. Have I read any Hinduism texts given your involvement in Tantra? Yeah, I've read some of the Hindu texts, and man, talk about like, cosmic extraterrestrial encounters, ancient technology, nuclear wars, spaceships. Like there's some crazy stuff the Hindu texts, the Bhagavad Gita, all this stuff. It's interesting for sure. Talking about other planets, beings, blue skinned beings that came from other planets, like, ancient aliens, right? Okay, Venom Boy, I'm 17, retaining 130-day streak, but problems due to nocturnal emissions occasionally. Does it lead to loss of vitality? What should I do to minimize them? Watch my wet dreams video, but basically you're 17, you've gone 130 days without ejaculating, like, and then you ejaculate because your body's like, hey, we need to clear some stuff out. Like, don't worry about it. You're young, you have a tremendous amount of sexual energy. If you're not, ejaculating like every day or multiple times a week, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Super Twitch 7 says, thoughts on what happens after death. Does a person's practice with energy affect it compared to someone else who doesn't? Well, having no memory of what it's like to die personally, it's difficult to say with any certainty. This thing about talking about things after death is like, we don't really know for sure, right? Like we can only speculate. But my theory, my own take on this is that, yeah, I think that you will have a much easier time with the transition, which death is, if you do have internal cultivation, and obviously the ability to let go. Because one of the things of death is like you're letting go of everything in the physical realm. You're letting go of everything. And, if you're really attached to, you're attached to like pains you've experienced or difficult experiences, right? Then, why do we have ghosts? Why do things kind of linger here in this plane with incompletion? Because we weren't complete when we died, right? So the work on letting go, detachment, and balancing your energy. And also, again, I was talking about earlier in this video, this concept of creating an energetic vessel that concentrates your consciousness, the essence of your body, the essence of your personality, which continues creating after death. And, I think it's probably going to, I think the analogy of like lucid dreaming, which is the ability to go into a dream state fully conscious, you're dreaming, you're in that dream state. And I think that that's kind of a preparation for death, because I imagine death is a very possibly disorienting experience for people, because you're like, oh, I'm out of my body, all this crazy stuff's happening. I don't know. Again, I haven't experienced this, or I have no memory of it, but at the same time, people who have near-death experiences, they're about to die, the brain releases DMT, they trip, and they go into this out-of-body experience, and they're like, it was amazing, it was fantastic, I'm not afraid to die anymore. So I don't know, don't fear death, but obviously do your practice to cultivate yourself. Remington says, both me and my girl follow you. I was wondering, her sex drive is as strong as mine. How often is it good to share our energy together? So you mean like, how often is it good to have sex? If you're both healthy, then, as much, frequent is great. This is one of the things about Taoist sexology, is based on like having frequent intercourse, but without ejaculation, or at least not ejaculating every time. And that's really good for your health. It stimulates your endocrine system. You exchange your energy together. I think daily is great. Okay, I've got a minute 30 left on my Instagram feed. Instagram cuts the lives after an hour, so we're getting to an hour. So I'm gonna answer a few more questions. I'm gonna pick just a few more questions to work. Then I gotta jump off. I have a date with my beautiful goddess Mariah. Okay, everyone's asking me. I was talking about this supposed disclosure that's happening in June, and they're asking me what I think. I mean, I'm not, I'm not an expert on this. I just hear things. The thing is that there was this bill introduced, right? I think it was a COVID bill saying that the government must present all information it has on UFO and off-world technology by, I think June 1st is the deadline, or maybe it was sometime in June. So supposedly, a lot of people say there's going to be this huge disclosure about the fact that the government has off-world technology that's 50, 100 years ahead of what we know, and that we're part of an intergalactic civilization, and that maybe even deeper, some people think that there's been a power shift on the planet already, and it hasn't really been come out yet, and that it's going to be revealed just the horrendous things that have been happening from those in power for the past thousands of years, so much that it's going to be traumatic for a lot of people to see the truth of this world, and that therapeutic modalities are going to be very necessary in this time. But I don't know. I don't know. This is just what I hear. I don't get polarized about the stuff. Oh, lost my Instagram feed. So who knows, right? I don't claim anything's going to happen. I'm just like, it's what I've heard, and we'll see. We'll know in a few weeks whether anything happens or not. Let me just, I'm going to answer just a couple more questions. Pull up my Instagram feed back up here. All right, Instagram's not letting me go live, so I'm just gonna answer a couple more questions and then jump off here, guys. Okay, are the practices like testicle breathing, microcosmic orbit helpful if you just ejaculated, or do you need to build up the semen first? Microcosmic orbit you could do. Testicle breathing won't be as effective because there's not as much energy to circulate. I would recommend that you do Dantian breathing after ejaculating, or like Zhanzhuan Qigong practices, right? Dantian breathing's it's an energy building practice, and it'll help you recover much quicker. God Force, what's up, brother? Yeah. You think the Anunnaki existed? I mean, it's in these texts, it's in the Bible, it's in the Sumerian text, which tells the same stories of the Bible, even though, they're much older, right? So, I don't know. I'm open. This story that there was this race of beings from another planet that came to Earth to mine gold because they needed it for their atmosphere to create kind of the dust to block the radiation of the sun in their atmosphere. And they're like, hey, if it sucks mining gold on this planet for thousands of years because they supposedly lived hundreds of thousands of years, so like, okay, well, we're going to take a primate from this planet, mix it with our alien DNA, and then create a slave race for us. And that's where humans came from, supposedly. This is, based on Zecharia Sitchin's work, his translation of the Sumerian text, which it's pretty interesting, right? I'm not saying this is what happened, but I think it's an interesting take, and it explains why we have these massive missing gaps in our DNA. We didn't really evolve from monkeys, like we're led to believe. There's some serious gaps in our DNA, and this kind of explains it. So I don't know, who knows? And they found not just thousands, literally tens, I think, or maybe hundreds of thousands of these massive gold mines in ancient Africa. What would primitive people have been doing mining gold? It would be useless to them, right? So it's interesting, right? When you do your research and you kind of put things together, I don't know, come to your own conclusions. We're talking about aliens now. I love this stuff anyway, so whatever. Speaking of which, I'm going to be speaking at a couple events this summer. In Sedona, July 25th, I believe, Family Gathering of Light in Sedona, Arizona. I'm going to be speaking, teaching about sexual kung fu. There's going to be a lot of other amazing speakers there. So that's July 23rd to 25th in Sedona. I'll be posting more info about that, but I think it's familyofgathering.info or familyoflight.info. I think I'll be posting the information. And then I'm going to be speaking at Camp Disclosure in Georgia. Speaking of disclosure, Camp Disclosure in Georgia, I'm going to be speaking 2 different days there. That is in August. I think it's like the 26th to 28th or something like that. Yeah, I'll be sharing more about that. But if you want to come, learn some sexual kung fu practices, hang out, meet in person, I'll be speaking to those. So love to see some of you guys there. Does retaining help with meeting aliens? Oh man. I don't know. I haven't met any aliens in person, at least not on the physical plane, and I've, been retaining, so it's difficult to say. Okay, guys, I'm gonna jump off. Thanks for joining. Always good to see you guys. Always good to hang out with you guys. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate you guys being here. Hanging out. It's great. And wishing you guys a great rest of your day, great weekend. I will see you back here next week. So take care, guys. Cultivate your energy. Cultivate your chi. Stay balanced. We're in a really exciting time.